Mm-hmm.
So we are grateful. We are grateful for this moment in time, for Most High always guiding each one of us in all that we're doing, for all those that have paved the way for this moment to even be. We are grateful. And it will always be an honor, Brenda Katushemererwe herself, to observe to observe your
You know,
journey and
you're one of the people who pronounce it well. Go ahead.
hey, I've been trying. I said this name, it is not just any kind of name.
Yeah, it's a whole
Um
paragraph. It's a whole paragraph.
no,
They
and
say.
it is and it is royalty. It is royalty. That is our essence. Yeah.
True, my
And
grandfather. My grandfather gave it to me,
yes,
so when
yes.
you say that, I agree. Mm-hmm.
Mm. And look at that, man. So the fact that you stand not just as an individual, but a representation of a long line, of beautiful human beings. So it is an honor to observe your discipline and your mental greatness. I've had conversations with you, Brenda, and I'm grateful. I infinitely grateful for all the work that you're putting in, all the education. And let me tell you, me personally, I get tired. So to see you keep on going year after year after year, and here we are now still, trying to deliberate and have a conversation on solutions that we could be able to offer to communities on a regional and global scale. It is always an honor, sister. Keep going. And today we make the first pioneering steps towards a greater legacy, of which I looking forward to all the way. So kindly, the floor is yours. Guide us on what we are here to converse for the day.
Thank you so much, my sister Mishu. I am equally
Yes,
proud of
yes.
you, and I'm really grateful to my creator for you because you are you are a rare person. You have been in my life for I think since 2020.
Hmm.
We have shared, we have talked, we have conversed, we have cried, we have done all of it together, and
Yes, right.
yeah, we've been together on those points where we felt like we are tired. This is tiring. But then we raise each
Hmm.
other. We definitely raise each other. And I can tell you that the reason why we do this is because we are alive. We are
Mm.
alive. We are alive for a reason. We are alive for a purpose. And once you realize that you still have this life, you know that you don't have this life for the sake of it. You have this life
Yes.
in order for you to do something, to fix your land, to add, not to subtract. You'd have to add some things to make it better for the generations to come. And this is our role.
Hmm.
And I am actually, I'm very, very honored as well to be in this sisterhood because it means everything.
Mm.
And I know that this is the thing that is lacking. This is the thing that is so much needed. This is what we need as African women to come together and agree and unite and be on the same fronts because, as I always tell you, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. So,
Mm.
well, I want to welcome I will
Mm-hmm.
welcome everyone who is on this live to be with us. That let's share these sentiments because they are very important. So today we are going to unveil a very important topic. Um, Sister Mishu, you know how to phrase the questions, and then these questions may help the people to know exactly what we are about today, what we are unveiling, and why it's important.
Yes.
So take us through the questions, and then I'll pick from there.
All right. Thank you. I'm grateful. Again, we welcome each and every human being that is present in this conversation. Today, we are discussing everything that is to do about women, not in the sense of trying to attack anyone or trying to take sides with anyone, But we are discussing our history as women, especially as African women. We are discussing on whether we know of our ancient and rich cultural heritage and the contributions that African women made to thriving societies. We know of matriarchs and warrior queens who shaped the future that we are now living in and possibly the future that our children will be in. Are we aware of the ways in which our women right now are facing systematically imposed oppression as well as suffering? Are we aware of the rapid rise in cases of femicide that continue to carry on since the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, till today? And unfortunately, from how everything seems to be going, are we are we even aware of the ways in which we are contributing to these cases? The discussion today also centers around a very important book, and that is The Killing of the Queen by the one and only Brenda Katushemererwe. And this book also highlights all these questions that we are going to go through and discuss today. And the importance of this book, I personally I've had the privilege of going or receiving some excerpts, and I tell you, this book is what will open your mind in the most, hey, and I'm not just saying that because you're here, but reading those excerpts myself, I was like, I had to sit back. So those are the kind of talking points we'll have today. And from these talking points, it's not just to talk and call it a day, but to see in what ways, in what little practices and patterns can we in our lives include to contribute to the solutions that are very much needed.
Thank you so much. I agree,
You're welcome.
and I agree that everything you say is on point. And yes, today let us focus on highlighting the very many ways in which women have been marginalized. And let us also recognize our place as Black women, uh, as African women. When we talk about marginalization, in most cases, a lot of people look at it from the perspective of the gender war. And I would like to make it clear
Mm-hmm.
before we go any further that we are not here for the gender war, and
Mm-hmm.
we try by all means to make sure we do not subscribe to the narratives that have originated from the people who colonized us, who are responsible for our marginalization. So we tend to avoid jargon and terminology that does not fit our narrative. And as we sit
Mm-hmm.
here, we want to make sure that as African women, we shape the narrative that really fits our situation, our truth, our background. And when we are speaking about our truth, uh, many times we will not give apologies because the truth, the truth in its entirety doesn't require you to apologize to anybody. Because when you start apologizing, when we talk about the erasure of the goddess, we can take you back to very many years ago, 4,000 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
when when the matriarchs ruled. In our African context, when Africa was still great, when Africa was still the civilization that everyone borrowed from, we had women at the center of all the economic, political, and social structures. And this is on record, and you can prove it yourself. So,
Mm-hmm.
the book, The Killing of the Queen, that I authored, which is, by the way, coming out so soon, is also delves into the truth of our history, showing you how matriarchal we were and why we do not need to mince our words when we talk about restoring this matriarchal order.
Mhm.
When we talk about the problems that we have in this day, which some of which you have mentioned, including femicide, we have domestic violence, gender-based violence, we have so many of them. We refuse to see that all of these have come as a result of we have lost the order. So the fact that we
Mm.
have lost the order, these are the results of that loss. And when we keep speaking about domestic violence and femicide, we need to stop. I think in January last year, I saw the big crowd that was on Nairobi streets and other cities in Kenya against
Mhm.
femicide. Yes, thousands of women can stand up to say we are rejecting femicide and we are denouncing femicide and we want femicide to stop. But at the same time, these women need to be re-educated into the real essence
Mm.
of African woman
Mhm.
and who she is, what she stands for, what her role is. She needs to know herself. She needs to embrace her power.
Mhm.
When she
Mhm.
hasn't done that, it is very hard for her now to fight these vices, which are a result of her being lost from who she really is. So, in this book, The Killing of the Queen, I emphasize that we have to restore the matriarchal order, first of all. Before we do anything, we have to restore the matriarchal order because that's our truth. And I'm
Mhm.
actually happy that we are not talking about this because these are women they want just feel good about this. No, there are
Mhm.
so many men who are educated into this truth. There are actually men who teach me. There are men that I talk to and they teach me, they say, you need to know this truth. This is how it was.
Mhm.
And this is when we were great. So those civilizations they tell you about, the Kush, the Kemet, all of it that they talk about were civilizations when women still had the dignity that has been lost in this day. So
Absolutely.
all of these things that we're supposed to talk about, are we going to keep crying to the men to stop killing us? Because
Mm.
basically, when you say we need femicide to stop, you're begging, you're persuading, and you're advocating and telling the men, stop killing us. But I would like to tell you that that will not make them stop killing us. Just because you told them to
True.
stop will not make them stop
Mhm.
killing us. Just because you
Mhm.
cried before them won't make them feel sorry for you. Just because you wrote all the articles and you went in all the media saying stop femicide will not stop them. What will actually
Mhm.
stop them is we have to stop them. And how do we stop them?
Mhm. It's
We
upon
have
us.
to
Mm.
we have to stand in our positions as the main guardians of our lives and be in position. Like everything that happens to us, we must be the center of it. We must not be dependent on sitting somewhere and then the men are sitting somewhere deciding for the women.
Mhm.
I have constantly given this example that in my village, when they are going to construct a spring of water, the meeting that is done at the local council has five men on it. Five men are in the meeting for the spring of water. There's no one woman.
Hmm.
But the truth of the matter is only the women are fetching the water.
Mm. Add volume. Add volume. I'm sorry to cut you short, but add volume. Hey. Can you imagine? Gee.
Only the women are fetching water. Only the men are
Hmm.
deciding. Only the men are deciding where the spring should be.
Mhm.
Now, these are the reasons why I say You must take positions. You must take back. You must not persuade and beseech and beg. You must take back, because no one is willing to give back to you. The same people who took from you are not willing to give back to you. They didn't just take from you, they even stole from you. They even stole from you. So you're going to tell a thief to return back what they stole. It's not sensible. So let's talk about how this happened. How did we lose the matriarchal order? So in my book, I opened my book with a fiction kind of setup. The book is nonfiction, definitely, but I have that fiction element, which is meant to give a deeper understanding of what exactly happened. And the story features the Kapalongo community in West Africa. And it talks about how the European colonizer went into that community and was amazed at the power that the women had. And he had to devise a means to make sure he conquers that woman. And the only way he could do that was to get to the person that was closest to the woman. And he found out the closest to the woman was the male of that community. Now, the colonizer comes to the male and convinces him that in the community where I come from, the women do not lead. In your community, the women lead. I would like to give you this idea. This is the colonizer speaking to the male. Let me get to the woman, and then I will give you the power that she has. Now, the colonizer presented this proposal to the male, who had for long known that the woman was the one in charge. And the male accepted the proposal with the promise. There was a promise of power, a promise of money, promise of everything. And now the colonizer got to the woman through the male, only for the male to realize that he was a mere pawn for the game. He was a mere
puppet.
pawn for the game, because at the end of the day, he did not even get power. At the end of it all, he lost all the power that he had before. And right now, we are living in the time where we see this tale actualized. We are living in the time where the tale has materialized into the present day. In the present day, we have males who are powerless. And how have these powerless males behaved towards us? Because they have lost all autonomy. They have lost autonomy. They have lost power. They have lost all dignity. Now they
And
turn
I was gonna say dignity,
all the
yes.
rage. They turn all the rage and frustration onto conquering the woman next to them. Now, this is how domestic violence happens. The femicide,
Yes.
name it. It is a result of the powerlessness of the males. Look at it this way. Males in the West are in charge of the economy. They are building, they are constructing, they are deciding how the nations are led. They are not even having time to look at their domestic work at home, because they are busy. They are busy trying to man the other higher and more sophisticated works that are supposed to contribute to the community. Now, see what's here in Africa. This man who is supposed to be building a boat, constructing a house, planning for the city, uh, deciding the prices of gold, turning the gold into a good that can be sold. The man who's supposed to be doing that has nothing else to do apart from objectifying the woman next to him.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing he's left to do is try to justify that he has some power by having the woman next to him obey him. And now this is how they trade the submission ideas. You must submit, you must submit. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why should African women submit to men who cannot guard our minerals?
Ah. Mm. Uh-uh. You
Why?
must repeat that one. Repeat, oh, hey! Sister, repeat. Please.
Why
You
should
know?
why should
Mm-hmm.
African women why should African women submit to African men who are not able to guard our minerals,
Hmm.
guard our wealth, guard our
Ask them,
resources?
oh. Ask them. Mm-hmm.
Why should African women submit to men who are collaborating in the stealing of our minerals?
And um, before you continue, sister, that question has reminded me of a conversation I was listening into between Monique and Steve Harvey. Okay. Now, um, considering all that you've said, and also the story that your book basically is centered around is a very crucial storyline to understanding how exactly our communities and our societies have been decaying. Because as women, understanding why men are the way they are right now will help us understand why our children are not safe, why our women are not safe, and also why our men themselves are not even safe from each other. When we look at, for example, the political field right now, yes, I'm aware that we both have corrupt men and women. It is true. However, before women were in so-called leadership positions, it was mostly men in these positions. And we can see what corrupt neo-colonialist men have been willing to do to their communities that are filled with women, that are filled with men, that are filled with youth, that are filled with the elderly. We have seen the conditions that these so-called leaders are willing to put our people in just so they can gain approval from their colonizer masters and whatnot. So the story in your book, as well as what you've just asked, literally gives us the answers that we need into undoing this decay. Because if we do not realize the roots of the problem, we'll keep on going in a circle. Okay, the conversation between Monique and Steve Harvey was so important that I did not think the audience that was present there realized what exactly was happening. Now, to just summarize it, Monique basically was trying to explain to Steve Harvey that sometimes you've got to look at what is all around you. At times, men, and even with the story in your book, the colonizer came to the man and said, "Hey, I'll give you power. I'll give you this. You know, you just need to make sure that you basically let me destroy the woman. You know, and I'll give you everything that you need." Okay, and in your book, basically the man accepts this offer and leaves the community, the entire, and when I say community, I am not just speaking of women, I'm speaking of children, little boys and girls. I'm
Men
speaking of the
too.
elderly. You know, I'm speaking of men themselves. Femicide does not just affect women, okay? And once we realize that every time you hear of a woman who has been killed, who has been butchered, who has been slaughtered, that is also letting you know that at one point, a young boy will also undergo the same. At one point, a young girl will also undergo the same. At one point, an elderly man or woman will also undergo the same. Because the reason as to why women are going through these atrocious crimes is because they are considered to be weak or vulnerable. And when you look at young boys and girls and the elderly, they are also somehow in one way or another considered to be weak or vulnerable. So, in this conversation between Monique and Steve Harvey, they were arguing, and Monique was basically trying to tell Steve Harvey at some point, it is not just about the power that you will gain. It is not just about the money that you will gain when you have to consider other elements that may not seem as important. And on in his defense, Steve Harvey was basically saying, no, if I have money to gain and I have a family to feed, I will not care about these other things. I will just take the money. And they went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this just showed why our communities are in the positions that they are in right now. Because we have people who our entire futures were basically in their hands, and they chose the power, they chose the money, you see. And when you make such a decision, whether you're a man or a woman, when you make such a decision, you are on the path to powerlessness. And once you're on that path, you will now get back into hurting anyone that you feel does not have the power to defend themselves. Women come in. Till we are able to get to the root of why do we feel, or what about our men makes them feel that, anything, as long as they can get power or money, nothing else matters. What about that? Because as we had matrilineal societies being led by queens, we also had healthy patriarchal societies being led by kings, and they were thriving. So, how did you go from being a king to being a capitalist puppet that depends on paper money to feel power? How is it that you went from a lineage filled with kings to now a man that needs a woman to be in this state that you call submission? So as
Submission.
Brenda Katushemererwe has asked, how do you expect me to submit when you cannot defend our minerals? And sister, you've gone far with minerals, though. You cannot even defend our homestead. Eh? If a thief comes to the house, the first person that you start quarreling with is the security man. It's not in your instincts to protect. So, like, and this thing of even submitting, if I'm respecting you, if I have let you and as my leader, why is it that you need me to bow to your knees to feel powerful? What more power do you need to feel? If our communities knew just how powerful our women are, the word submit would not even be in your vocabulary the moment you realize how much of an honor it is to be a husband, how much of an honor it is to be a woman once a woman actually agrees to be with you. So if our men can receive that kind of re-education as well as unlearning of this, excuse my language, but these stupid, nonsensical concepts, we can now begin to move forward. So, what you've highlighted is very, very, very important, sister.
Thank you. I felt like, ooh, she's breaking it all down. So, fortunately, I have really gone so deep into all the things you speak about in my book. I have talked about submission. I have explained that we were never and have never been a subordinate. As African women, submission is not our thing. It's
Mhm.
not our thing. No. So, and this is not just to be rebellious or try to be this feminism they usually speak about. I also speak about feminism in my book, and I say feminism isn't our thing. Submission isn't our
Mhm.
thing, and feminism isn't our thing too. And that's why
Yes.
I said we are here for our truth. Everything we're speaking
Mhm.
about here is for our truth. Where did feminism come from? From the West. Where
Mhm.
did men going their own way come from? From the West. So
Mm-hmm.
what came from us? That's what we are looking for. And that's why I say,
Mm-hmm.
when I say we are not submissive, I mean it, because that's our truth. So what are we? What are we? We are women who take center stage in our affairs without necessarily being arrogant, without
Mm-hmm.
without trying to make the men feel like we rule them. It's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
It
And
doesn't
that's not even
help
what
us.
it's about.
No, we don't rule
Yeah,
men.
yeah.
We are
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we are women who are orderly, who love and bleed for love. We
Mm-hmm.
we love passionately to the point that
Mm-hmm.
we do not feel these power struggles. We don't need them. All we care
Mm-hmm.
about, all we care about is that our communities are peaceful and thriving. And
Mm-hmm.
that alone should tell you that we have no need, we have no desire to make our men feel some type of way. We actually want them to feel good.
And to actually reclaim their intended
We
positions,
want
you
we
know, their
want
intended
our
roles.
men, we
Absolutely.
want our men to grow. We want our men
Mm-hmm.
We want our men to build our land. We want our men to defend our land.
Mm-hmm.
We want our men to make the right decisions. We want our men.
Furthermore,
We do not want to see our men kneeling before the colonial masters. We see this
ha!
every day.
I swear. Sorry, oh, that one went straight to my heart. The
And,
truth in that.
let me make this clear.
Oh.
Let me make this clear. We had to see President Ruto showcasing the pictures and photos he has taken with our colonial masters as success
Can
stories.
you imagine?
Those are not
Ha!
success
God
stories.
forbid. Mm-hmm.
We don't want to be begging our men to make the right decisions for us. We do not want to remind them that we do not want GMOs in our countries. We
Mm-hmm.
do not want to tell them that accepting deals that are bringing cancer in our land is bad.
Thank
We want them.
you.
We want them to make the right decisions for us. And those are the men we submit. We will submit. We will just submit. Just do the right thing and we will just submit.
Mm. It comes
It's
naturally. It comes
natural. It's
naturally.
natural.
Yeah.
So the
Mm-hmm.
discussions on social media that I see every day where the men are preaching, 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 preaching don't make sense to me. And I actually go so hard on them in my book. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually also remember when I was putting this book together and I was looking for reviews from the people closest to me in my circle. And I'll just send them this accepts and say, can you read through and tell me what you think? There's a point where I go hard on our African men and I'm telling them, you really have to be the men that we want. And my friends say, oh,
Mm-hmm.
the men are going to be angry. The men are going to be, the backlash is coming. The men are not going to like it. And I'm like, okay. And now I know that this is why my message is needed. The fact that
Ah.
the fact that my friend
Hmm.
the fact that my friends tell me that the men are going to be angry shows the power dynamics. It affirms it affirms that the
Mm.
patriarchy has had a bigger grip on us to the point that we think speaking the truth will annoy them and we feel concerned. We don't want them to get annoyed. This is not about annoying anyone.
Mm.
This is not about
Mm.
pleasing anyone or making anyone feel some type of way. This is our truth. This is our truth. We love our men with all we have, but
Yes.
we want to see our men saying we are taking the right decisions for the children of the land. Unfortunately, the
We want to see our
decisions
men. Um,
the decisions they take every day are for the distraction, greed,
thank you.
capitalism, and patriarchy. Destructive patriarchy.
And and there's also the fact that I I'm I'm trying to undo the colonization and indoctrination, sorry, that I went mental capturing. You see? So there's no way I can undo that all my life. And then I have to contribute to the same system I have been undoing myself from. There's no way I'm submitting to a white colonizer about it. There's no way I can submit to you as my begging, a neo to have this small power. You are begging for breadcrumbs, and yet you can fight for your own land and plant your own grains and fruits and vegetables. There's no way I will. And the thing is, once we are a union, once a woman and a man come together, they have to move as a unit. You see, because if we disagree on so many things, then what is the use? So there's no way I am here does not contribute to the colonization of I and I people, but yet all your decisions as a man is basically contributing to that. Then what path will the children that we have? What you're saying is so true.
The
This
only
book that you've written, sister, is so impactful.
yeah, the the only uh the only thing that the men have leveraged to keep their grip on power and destructive power is the fact that the women are ignorant of their power.
Mm-hmm.
And I am here. I'm here to make a call to action for women worldwide to stand up and take full positions to reclaim. We have to reclaim. If we really care to save the world, because you can see, look around the world, leave Africa alone, look around the world and see what's happening in Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm,
see
mm,
see what the American president is talking about the same.
mm-hmm.
It's like an ethnic cleansing, and he's not
Yeah.
missing his words. See what's happening there. See what's happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo. See
Mm-hmm.
the silence about it. And look at what happened in Libya. Look at what happened in Syria. Like, go around the world and see what's happening. And I'll gladly tell you
Mm-hmm.
that there is no point in us missing our words about it. All of these wars are a creation of patriarchy. All of these
Mm-hmm.
wars,
Mm-hmm.
all of these wars are
Mm-hmm.
summoned by patriarchy. And you mentioned something that we also have corrupt women in leadership. True, but I would like to make it clearer. Even though we have women in leadership, the percentage has not equaled the percentage of men. I'll give you an example of the
And
I'll give you an example of the
mm-hmm.
Ugandan parliament. The women are there. Indeed, they are there, but they are a smaller percentage. And also, I will also make this clear.
I'm gonna
A
say that, yeah.
lot, a lot of the women who are there are enablers of the destruction. Oh, oh, they would never have been allowed to be there in the first place.
Mm,
If if Katushemererwe stands out and say, I'm gonna be in that position as well, she's going to be destroyed, she's going to be killed, she's going to be exiled or something, because they understand when she gets there, she will not be an enabler of the system. So the women that they would use to argue are there as mere tokens. They are pawns too. They are enablers. They are collaborators of the patriarchy. So these are patriarchal females who are going to fight tooth and nail to uphold the destructive patriarchy.
To your point, when it comes to the whole topic and fiasco of women leadership, we as women, we also have to be careful with the things that are created to appease us, you know, because when we observe these women leadership roles, if they are created by the same system that continues to oppress women, that continues to raise taxes on sanitary pads, as we saw in the finance bill that Kenyans beautifully rejected. But the fact that we had women in parliament pushing for sanitary pads to be taxed in a country where not all women are actually able to afford sanitary towels as we speak, you know, women in leadership roles are comfortably sitting in their offices when there are girls being trafficked on the daily, when there are young girls hungry on the streets. So when a system that is benefiting from your suffering and your oppression creates roles for you and tells you as a woman, here, look, we have created this for you, take it up. You have to be careful because sometimes they know what your anger, what your collective unity can do. That is where we need to understand what our true power is as women. At times, these positions that you think are a sign of progression or empowerment are not actually that. They are
They
just
are
there
not.
to cool down your anger.
They are
Exactly, they are there to
tokens.
just cool down your anger.
They are
You
mere
know,
tokens.
because thank you. Because let me tell you, if these positions truly meant that you receive some form of power, some form of control over your resources, they would not be made available to you. There is no one that is making profits from your own suffering that is willing to give them up. Unless someone is willing for their multi-billion-dollar corporation to fall down, because at the end of the day, that's what all these, I know, sister, I know how it feels. Like I've touched a, at the end of the day, no one, unless someone is willing to come out and say, it is okay, I do not mind my multi-billion corporation going down, I give you power. Unless someone tells you that, do not fall for these mimics of, okay, don't worry, no one who took power away from you is willing to share it with you. That will always be bullshit, for lack of a better word.
True.
Sister, you're going to say something, no?
I was going to remind you when you spoke, my mind ran directly to what's been happening in the Congo. And I've seen what the
Mhm,
African man is capable of doing. Oh my God. So
mhm,
I'm like, really? We have followed this Congo problem for very many years since I was a child. And where we are
mhm,
is that the African person has been following. We all have common knowledge of what's been happening and we know why. And now
mhm,
recently, these lame leaders, they started a campaign that is a typical propaganda, trying to
mm,
convince trying to convince the world that the war in Congo is about one tribe called Banyamulenge. And in this propaganda campaign, I noticed men who have been speaking the right things for decades joined the bandwagon. And all of these men, they look like they have earned a lot of respect from the society. So right now they are, we can easily call them endorsers or people who say something and no one should refute it because Pio or Lumumba said it. And I'm like, I'm like, really? So just because you've put on a Pan-African hat and you have the eloquency and you speak so nice, you're a big orator, and everyone claps and says, "Our man, he's a Pan-Africanist," and this is how the Africans get lost because they are not willing. They are not willing to think outside the box. They are not willing to question a person that they have endorsed for many years to be the right voice. And right now, I saw these men join the propaganda, and the propaganda machine was working so good because you could see the connection of the West and the people in power in the West who have been financing these African leaders who are still being used as mere pawns to destroy the African woman. They were speaking the same word. And they were all saying, we hate colonial borders. The problems of Africa are colonial borders. And we don't want Congo to keep marginalizing the Banyamulenge. Those were the main two reasons that they were giving. And I'm like, yo, you just started hating colonial borders because you want to get into Congo. You've never hated colonial borders. We have never seen you or heard you talk about it. You just realized colonial borders were a bad thing because now this border into the Congo is stopping you from getting into. And who sent you? We know who sent you. We know who's behind you. And we know even whatever you're getting is
We
not going
see
to fit.
them all.
These men run this propaganda machine and it destroys the land. You just need to run to a refugee settlement or a camp. And the person who is suffering the most from this nonsense is a woman.
Very
She is the
true.
one, she's carrying the burden of the children. A child on her back, another in her hands, the luggage on the head. She doesn't know where to begin, and she has to end up in a refugee settlement where she cannot have food, medical, education, all of it. The destruction of the queen. This is how it is happening.
Literally.
And now, the book that I've just authored, which talks about the killing of the queen, uh, to a lot of people, it may sound like a historical chart. The man, the African man, is going ahead to sign agreements and deals with the same person who did it very many years ago. The person who put you into this situation, who is never ever going to be willing to get you out of it, is still dealing with the African man. They're signing agreements to take more deals. And the men are doing their best to convince us that the African men are now in power. They are telling us they are in power. They are trying to take charge of the situation in Congo. They are trying to take charge of the situation in Congo. We do not have industries here that use our minerals. Those people who are mining the minerals, where are they taking them? We know where they are going. We haven't seen African leaders talk about we can manufacture here and also sell to the world. The only thing they talk about is we will export. So all of this, when you think about it, it further explains the extent that the male of Africa will go to cling to power, which yeah, that's the extent. And I will say the women, because we are talking about this truth and we want to wake up so many of you, we are not going to tell you that you have to also repeat the words we are saying because mere words do not add anything to the struggle. We are just asking the question. We are saying, we are saying the time is now. Because when we talk about that women were in power, it doesn't mean that if we needed presidents, it's only women who were the presidents. No. The kind of power
Yes.
we had, the kind of power we had is further explained in my book. Actually, at the conclusion of the book, I tell my grandfather's tale that he told me. So
Wow.
he said the woman's leadership and the woman's authority was not merely her presence.
Mm.
It was also the fact that she would be present in her absence. So
Mm.
the point I'm making is you, male leaders of East Africa, are not supposed to be signing agreements with the person who is colonizing us to this day without our.
Hmm.
You understand?
Tell
What have
them.
we haven't contributed to that decision for you to put your signature on behalf of the women, on behalf of the children, on
Um,
behalf of the men.
sis- but that what on its own. And I feel like our men need to realize there's a reason as to why you are intentionally separated from your women. There are things that your women will feel. We also have to realize the spiritual perspective to certain spiritual capabilities that our women have, and there are certain spiritual capabilities that our men have. And our unity contributes to what I'd refer as heightened intelligence as well as intuitive guidance. When we are not making decisions for the community together, our community will never thrive. And that is why you see we have dams in areas where people are lacking water. We have dams that supply luxury estates that house tourists and house the people that are colonizing you, but in this you not just a few meters or a few kilometers from where these dams are and reservoirs, we have communities that are lacking water, lacking electricity. So men especially in these
You just
positions.
mentioned the dams, and you reminded me of a sister. Shouts out
Mhm.
to Hamela Alegawi from Ethiopia. She's a journalist, and
More life, Pamela.
I want the job she did when there was that problem in Ethiopia, when they were trying to get into Ethiopia, and then they were going against the president.
Mm.
Um, it was going to be bad, but I saw the campaign that the Ethiopians did using social media to tell the master in quotes to stay
Mhm.
away. They stay away. I think they were going after President Abiy Ahmed. About what I'm saying is when we talk about women need to get in charge, it's not merely women being the president or the prime minister or something, because
Mhm.
that's what a lot of men mistake us for, because they say you are
Mhm.
unruly, you are a feminist, you are not submissive. That's nonsense. When you tell that to me, that's nonsense. So I tell them, I say, i have no I have no interest. I have no interest to do the same thing that I'm condemning you for, because
Mhm.
what
Pa.
I am condemning you for is that
Right.
you want
Ah.
to be the president for 60 years. I don't want that. I'm not interested in that. I'm like, no. I'm like, so when I talk about women being in power, what I mean is make sure the women are a part of the major decisions, how the communities are run, what happens with the children. How do you make a decision about the children without the women? Hmm? How?
How?
How on earth? And then I'm
Mm,
like, really? Do not think that I'm trying to attack our men, our beloved men, or trying to say, women, let's take power from them and let's be the one in power. No, I know that
that is not
it's not in our nature to be greedy to that extent. But what we
good.
need is we want to properly dictate decisions that are made on our behalf. We want to be a part of all the processes because we have seen the result of excluding us.
Mm,
And
bam.
this exclusion has been systematic, both systematic and systemic. So we have reached a point whereby, because you will not agree with what we are telling you because of greed and corruption and all of that, and you definitely used to power. We have to take it back. We are not asking for it back. We have to take it back. You're not going to give it to us,
And
but we have to take it back. And now, let me also explain this. When I say that the men did all of this in our absence, all the colonial agreements that were made in 1900 from Ghana to, from Ghana to Uganda, and I give examples of this in my book. Not one agreement had a woman on the table. The colonial agreement between Buganda and those colonialists was done in the absence of women. So what happened? There's a queen called Queen Muhumza of Rwanda. Her leadership spanned Rwanda, Uganda, and the whole of Central Africa. She put up she put up a very, very big resistance against colonialists. And she was ultimately captured, arrested, and died in prison. Sad. And such is an example of how they killed the queen, really, uh, with all that she was doing. And I also ask women, I say, when we talk about these queens in the past who fought like that, we do not get their match in the contemporary world. Like, we do not have, we want to see another Nana Ya Asantewa in this age. Do you know why we do not have them? The reason why we do not have them is the system has properly engineered the woman to become useless. Now, the woman's only role now is to shake their butts on TikTok. The only
ha,
thing she can do.
tell them all.
Tell me. The only thing that the woman needs to do is, I'm gonna wear my makeup, do the best hairstyle, and I'll wear clothes that are very revealing, and I'll be on TikTok looking for likes, looking for men who can objectify me, because I know that objectification of myself is fine. The world has normalized it. Now, the queen has gone from being the influence of the community in major decisions and growth and reproduction to a community prostitute.
Ha, tell them all.
And now,
Tell them.
yeah, when you read my book, you realize that this is not one-sided. There are chapters where I go hard. There are chapters where I go hard on the women, and I actually tell the women, I say, you are the birth canals and the makers and the creators, and you're the ones who raise the men you decry.
That part. And it is true. It is true. And sister, touching on that point, we also, as women, we've got to recognize where we are contributing to our own problems. There's no way you will tell a man to stop objectifying you, but you are objectifying yourself. It is as simple as that. There's no way you will tell a man that you are strong, but your character is weak. Okay? There's no way you will command for respect, but you're not respecting yourself.
And this is what
Even if
happened.
you choose to wear, mm-hmm,
Mhm. This is what happened in the
uh,
politics.
yeah, you go ahead.
Because I've been there. So
Mm,
you'll tell the people that, but we have women in leadership. You want people
that
to believe
part.
that. Let me tell you what's happening in the politics. The women who go into the politics also have the men in higher places objectifying them. If you want to get this, you have to do this.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, I'm running. I'm running for member of parliament for my constituency, and then you have this
mm-hmm.
maybe 60-year-old man giving you a call. Hello, Brenda. How are you? I know you're standing for. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They do it, and when they call
What?
you, when they call you, they are using a very authoritative voice. They know that even when you're running for that office, inside you're not honest about it. You're looking to be noticed. You want someone to notice you.
Mm-hmm.
They have reduced women to that point whereby they think there is no woman who should come out and properly want to be a leader. They think every woman who is coming out is looking for something else. So this man calls you, hello, I want to take you out. When are you free? I'm like, yo, who's this? And then he'll say a name that everyone worships around, like this is a big man in politics.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's your issue? I don't think you're giving such a call to a man who is vying for political office.
Uh-huh.
And
Ask your
the
fellow
other
man for
reason,
lunch.
the other reason
Mm.
why he's doing it for me is because he has done it to a lot of women and it worked.
Mm. That
He's
part.
been doing this. He's been doing this. Like he calls women who are trying to get into those spaces and he's going to try to break them. That's another tactic for killing the queen.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want
Mm.
if you want to be in that office, you have to do this. You have to be with me. You have to hear what I say. Those things. So
Absolutely.
they show you how our society has gotten degraded to the point that they do
Mm-hmm.
not believe that there is a woman who genuinely cares about good leadership. And I would like to state
Mm-hmm.
that really and truly, in the African context, in the ancient, women had more interest in leadership, governance, and the politics than the men themselves because they knew that the land and the children belong to the mother. Everything that happens, everything that happens to the land and the children, the woman must be answerable because, as they say, motherland, she is the mother of humanity. And why would that mother stay on the sidelines when major decisions about the land are being made? And now
That
I would like to
affect
say,
her children.
yes,
Mm.
the joke has played out for so long. And it's time that the matriarchs rise once again and reclaim the power we really accepted when you made a deal with the colonialists because we still trusted you. We put up a resistance, but then we gave up because we still trusted you. You betrayed us. You are still doing more
Mm.
destruction. And it is time for you to step down. Lay down your tools of oppression and let the mother
Oh.
lead.
Mm.
It
And
is time.
yes, and also men need to realize that for the most part, you stepping down from these positions is also giving you space and time to heal from the trauma that these positions of being puppets and being agents of oppression have done unto you. When black men, when we look at the suicidal rates for black men and young boys. When we look at the statistics, especially in the US, in Cuba, in the Caribbeans, when we look at the statistics for induced crime in low income areas that have been strategically built to ensure that majority population are black men, and we can see this in the, it is known as the school to prison pipeline. When we look at what toxic patriarchy built by colonizers, what that has done to you as black men, you will see that stepping down from these greedy positions of power will enable you time to heal from the wounds and from the injuries that these positions have caused you. I personally, I have worked in the corporate scene for a couple of years, and I can tell you the things that men are willing to do for mere power. You would think that this man is becoming president tomorrow because the kind of things that he's willing to do, the kind of I don't know how to explain it. You see, so when you hear an African woman telling you step down, she's to be powerless. She's not telling you that you are not needed. Black men, you are needed. You are our kings. You are our protectors. You are our leaders. You are the ones that will sit on the throne. But you cannot do that while you're still serving a colonizer. It cannot work like that. So, if anything, women leading and women nurturing um, societies and communities is the time that you need to heal, is the time that you need to re-educate yourself on what it is truly needed. You are needed and we need you. But we do not need that aspect of you that is willing to bow down to colonizers. That we're now upon us. You'll have to strategize
Yeah.
and it will not be in our land.
And
It's
we've seen,
sometimes,
yeah.
you
And
know,
then we
so
see, I'm
absolutely,
like,
like
hmm, and you're in your
I'm
house.
sorry, go
You
ahead.
think about it this way: you're in your house as a man, and you're rolling, and your woman is daddy, daddy, and the children are like daddy,
Mm,
daddy, and you are the man in the house. But then when they turn on the TV, you are bowing before a white man. In a way,
ah,
in a way that shows your powerlessness,
mm,
and they are watching you. They're watching you. They know you have no
mm,
power. You have no power. And then when we say step down because you have no power. That's the ultimate
mm.
reason why you should. You have no power, so you
Yeah,
should step down. So
and this you are in actually take away your power from you. There's no one point you will serve a colonizer and have power. I don't care if you're given all the, and this is what we're seeing with neo-colonialist leaders. You think just because you have an entourage of 15 cars, you have power? Hey, my dear, you do not know the person that is fooling you, but we do, and we see it. Don't let paper currency fool you. You have power, but look at what happened in Zimbabwe. You know, look at what happened in Congo. Sese Seseko had I don't know how many houses, had this land and that land, but look at of his compound today. You cannot even tell if this was a thriving home, you know. So do not ever think that your oppressor will give you power while actively destroying your land and community. Black
thank
men,
you so much.
this is not the time. Oh. Mhm.
Thank you so much. So, sis, I see the time has run out. I just think that that's enough for today. And also to remind the people that we are here for a good cause. We are here for a noble cause. We are here for our ancestors' wishes. And we know that we are not playing jokes here. We don't have that time. We are here to rebuild. We are here to make sure that our children are safe. We are here to give hope to all those that have been marginalized for a long time. And we are here to restore the love between our men and women. And it's important. So we will try our best. We will try our best to be kind, but at the same time we'll be brutally truthful. So whatever, you just know that we are here to heal each other, but the healing may be painful at some points. So you also check in the comments. I will share links to the book. As I said, the book is called The Killing of the Queen, and we are downloading it from most bookstores around the world. I think a few haven't received it, but most of the bookstores have already published it. So I will share. And then if you need the paperback,
Congratulations.
thank you so much. The paperback will also be coming in a few weeks. So just hold up. So I will share the link in the comments. Also remember, if you'd like to follow me on Facebook, I am Katushemererwe Brenda.
Her
You
son of food.
make a call to action for women. So we will also welcome women that have stories of resilience, experiences, and all of the things you think are going to be beneficial and helpful to the world. Please remember to get in touch and share with us. I'll also leave my email address down. So you can go ahead and contact us, and you can also follow the rise of the matriarchs. It will be a newsletter that will be publishing on Substack every week. So apart from that, we thank you for being a part of this life, and we thank you for listening with an open mind, and we would like to hear your thoughts about what we discussed. And remember, we say we love you and we care about you, and we will always do our best to bring this to you weekly. My sister Mishu, thank you so much for making this happen. You know, you mean everything to me about everything we do. You know what you mean to me. So I'm grateful for
Karibu.
the sisterhood, for the company, for the result. May the ancestors bless you so much for me, and may you grow from tower to tower.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much. I'll just end it here and call it a day. Have a great evening. You can say hi.
Yes, more life. Do take care, and all to each and everyone. Please just know that all is possible, and we are here we are here for progress. We are here for our greatness, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. That's what all these conversations are about. Restoring our communities to what they are intended to be. We are grateful for our Most High for allowing and aligning this time in time for us to come together, and for all the times that we will come together. We are grateful for all guidance. Our Most High never fails to protect, as well as continue inspiring and strengthening us. So for all that will be and already is, Ashe, and we are grateful for our Most High so much, sister. It is always an honor. More life. Bye
Ashe.
bye.
Ashe.
Ashe.